Hey, everybody. Hey, Star Wars fans. Welcome back to another lively adventure of Rule the Galaxy on the Rule the Galaxy podcast. It's Joe in the pilot seat. We are on chapter 89 of this crazy adventure we've been doing over the last year and a half. And we're so glad to have you along with us. As always, follow us at Rule the Galaxy SW on Twitter. Email us rulethe@gmail.com. Follow us at Rule the Galaxy on YouTube and Facebook. And that's my spiel for the night. That's it. Thanks for coming. All right, we're out. No, we've got all these co-hosts. It's like days of old where the whole gang's back together. And we might have another special guest popping in here in a little bit. He's on his own time schedule. So we just, if he shows up, he shows up. But I'm going to start off the show by going around and reintroducing our co-hosts who are always so happy to be here. I can see it on their smiling faces. We'll just start. We'll go alphabetical order today. We're going to say, Alfie, how you doing? Welcome back to Rule the Galaxy.
Great. Thanks for having me again.
They don't call him the best co-host in the business, folks, for nothing.
What do you want me to talk? It's going to be an hour to get through all of us.
No,
Alfie's all business to start this.
Alfie, when did you cancel HBO?
45 seconds after the Game of Thrones series finale.
Okay. All right. And you have reasons for that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It sucked.
Well, there we go.
Stop talking to me.
That's the answer I wanted to hear. We're going to hop over next to Mr. Brent Dykman. Sorry. Brent, you've got some great artwork there behind you. We had an adventure this weekend going and getting some toys. One for me to buy to actually keep, and two for you to buy and destroy. So tell us what you got there.
Yeah, so I play the Legions. I talk about it all the time. And one of the things I've gotten into is making terrain pieces. So I'm trying to do settings from the different Star Wars world. And I've been inspired by, I found out that they're called the Carthan Shop Fields. You know how I found that out? I turned on the closed captions. So the Carthan Shop Field from Mandalorian Season 2, where they went and found Migs Mayfield. So I wanted to make a junk pile. So I went with Joe to some old toy places in the Indianapolis area. Shout out to D's Toys. They had some good stuff. And then we went to some flea markets where at D's Toys, I found this G.I. Joe pilot, which is the bottom base of this thing. I put it on social media and they said that's big money even for parts. I said I paid $10 for it. Not really worried about breaking it up. I guess like this jet was like probably a good $150 if it even had more parts. Got it for $10, tore it apart. I'm cool with that. And then there's an A-wing, as you can see, and then the parts of the skiff from Jabba's sail barge, not where the one that Luke was on. Kind of destroyed that up, and then the electronic parts that are there are an old DVD player that I broke up, repainted, and then covered and made it look like a junk heap from the Carthan Shop Fields.
Well, that is fabulous, and I'm sure we all have other things that we can throw your way to create these junk fields. But I'm happy that it's you doing it, because I would have the hardest time breaking these things apart. Even the broken things that I have, I don't want to break them even more. So we had fun though. That was a good time. Next, let's see, Nick. Right? No, I guess Nick's next. So Nick Shesky, back from Chicagoland, correct? Or Wisconsin?
Well, back from the dead. No, back from Chicago. We were with my wife's family for the 4th of July, and I was having a pretty good day until I got a text that Alfie's mad at me. We've been in a very silent rivalry, apparently, because I didn't know about it for the last couple weeks over a Mando.
I think it's a blood feud. I think it's a blood feud. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, apparently. If Alfie talks to me tonight, it'll be
to the death.
So, Nick, you've got the Mandalorian helmet that was gifted to you.
Yes.
Alfie paid money for it. And when are you going to get that, Alfie?
The third revision is September 1st.
Okay.
And when are you going to get the Boba Fett helmet?
January 1st, 2022.
So Nick, real quick, you were gone having 4th of July stuff, Chicago, having fun with the family. Did you do anything, talk any Star Wars? Because I know you weren't surrounded by a bunch of Star Wars people in Chicago.
You know what? I didn't. And in fact, I got a couple days behind the Bad Batch and had to watch it on my iPad, tucked away in a corner, away from everybody, just to make sure that I got it in and didn't see any spoilers, because the Twitter universe is a free-for-all as far as, like, if you don't watch it the second that it comes out, you might as well just stay away from Twitter, because it's a free-for-all. So I caved and I said, if I'm going to get back on there, I better watch it. But didn't talk a ton of Star Wars. But I did get a chance to talk to Sam, who's been one of our co-hosts. And we're fixing to try to do another Clone Wars Chronicle. Life's been crazy for him. He got done with school, teaching wise. And so now it's the summer, and he's got some time before football. I got some time before football. So we're trying to get some more, Clone Wars Chronicles back in. So for anybody that's like, hey, what the heck, did those guys die or just decide they don't like Star Wars anymore? No, we've just taken a hiatus with some busy life stuff.
Well, I can tell you this. I get to obviously track what goes on with the show and see what numbers are going where. Excuse me. Besides one of our regular shows and seeing how they're followed and watched, people have been going back and checking out some of the Fulcrum Files, some of the Clone Wars Chronicles, and some of the Lothal libraries. So I've been seeing those pop up, and we haven't done them in a while.
Oh my gosh.
And here it is. And I'm like, wow, we haven't done those in a month, and people are just now downloading and listening to those. So thank you, listeners, because that's really cool. And that just shows me that people actually want to hear those things that are going on. So Nick, I'm looking forward to you and Sam hopping back in there. I know it will be great. And I know you'll pick a good arc to go over there. So
well, and we teased a Plagueis Lothal library at one point. I feel like I'm gonna have to reread the book again before we actually go do it, but we gotta get that one in too.
We do. And you know what? We'll make it happen. You and I will pick a day during the day instead of evening or whatever, and we'll get that done real soon. Last but not least, Ryan Massengale. Ryan, how are you? Been a while. Hope everything's going well.
Everything's going pretty well. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. But speaking of the Twitter, it's hard to get on there sometimes, man. I mean, people just find stuff to complain about. It's kind of amazing. It's a painful.
That's what makes it great.
No, no, it's not.
He's got to pour gasoline on that fire, man.
God.
Sit back and watch it burn. Now, Mass, what are some of the topics you saw where you're like, what? People are upset about this? Tell me something.
Well, the one that I saw lately, and I was just like, I didn't even look at the show like that, was the whitewashing of the Bad Batch.
Bad Batch, yeah.
And I swear to you, I didn't even look at it like that until they brought that up. But I mean, you gotta let it play out before you. I mean, you can't just criticize something right off the bat. I mean, there's gonna be answers to that stuff. Well, I know you can, Alfie.
45 seconds later. That's all.
That's it. That's all you get.
Can somebody explain that? Because I heard rumblings in our group text about it, and I was expecting to watch something on the last episode that maybe I watched it too late at night and I saw it on my iPad and I didn't understand what it was.
It's a very simple thing. If you look at Tamara Morrison, obviously he's not the most fair-skinned individual. He has a very darker skin. What would you call a South Pacific kind of look about him. And if you look at Rex and some of the clones at the beginning of the Clone Wars, they looked like that. I mean, from Attack of the Clones on.
They had darker complexions.
And
I see.
The Bad Batch has a lot more lighter skin. And then if you look at Omega, she's very fair skinned and blonde hair. And so people are saying, can we unwhitewash the Bad Batch, make them look more like Tamara Morrison and his skin coloration? I think that's the direction it was going. Look, for those of you listening only, I'll admit we are 5 white guys talking about this. So 5 white guys might not look. We all live in our own bubbles. We might not look at it that way. We might not even, like Matt said, I didn't even think about it, right? But maybe that's on us for not thinking about it. if there's people upset, I get it, but that's what it came down to. Anybody else thoughts on the unwhitewash the Bad Batch? No? Yes?
Well, I mean, they are enhanced, but how did they enhance them? Stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm just hoping there's an explanation because of the complaining is.
I've
Maybe
heard
it's
the same complaints about a child's cartoon that's an animated dog family. That there's not enough. Yes, there's a
that from
Bluey.
Paw Patrol? Oh, Bluey.
Yeah, not enough minority representation.
Interesting.
They're dogs. I don't know.
It never ends.
In the world we live in, because we have 24/7 accessibility to either the internet or shows like this or whatever, the news, there's a lot more thoughts out there. We used to keep our thoughts to ourselves, I guess, a lot more. Maybe now we share them a lot more. So, Mass, I'm sorry
now
that bothers
5
you.
people seem like hundreds of people.
Yeah,
because of social media.
That's my problem. That's my problem with it is you read Mass, you probably read something or it was trending, but there's 100,000 people that watch the Bad Batch and 4,000 of them are the ones that are on Twitter saying that or something like that. Like it's you're listening to a vocal minority is what I call it.
Mm.
And
I looked through there and it was basically 3 guys or 3 different people, but they just kept going and going and going and going. And I was like, geez, man.
And
come on.
You also run into the situation where if they really want to make it stink, they can pay bots and they just mass litter the same and they just pay to make fake accounts and have bots that make counts to make it even worse, to make it look like it's bigger than that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Twitter is good for. Twitter gets you connected to people. If you are out there, you put your thoughts out there. But if you want to listen and try to glean something from it, I don't know what you can learn from it.
Now, from a pure devil's advocate standpoint, watching Star Wars, is she or is she not genetic sampling one first generation as well? Clone. Not that it, again, I'm like 45 seconds into this argument. I haven't heard one way or the other. So know that. I just think it is interesting to go, okay, there's that. Does it really matter? I don't know, but okay.
In the first episode, they said she was enhanced. In the last episode, they said she was 100% genetic representation of Jango Fett. So
hold on a second, though. I think that we interpreted them saying that she was enhanced because when she was walking and they confuse them, now let's say Mama Mooey, whatever. When they were walking and talking, to Tarkin, they said that there are 5 enhanced. We assumed that she was one of the 5 because Echo wasn't one of the 5. So we assumed that the 5th was Omega. Now they're saying that she was an unaltered version. So all that did was bring it back from what I understand and what I remember from the first couple episodes.
Right.
Who's
the 5th that they haven't hired people to go out and bring back?
Correct. Who's the 5th?
They're hiring bounty hunters to go get her and bring her back if she's not the 5th.
But she is unaltered. There's 5 that they altered.
That's the point I just made.
No, they're hiring.
Okay. I'm going to mediate. All right, I'm going to mediate because Brent, you're saying that the 5th one is not her. That the 4 were Wrecker, Hunter, Tech, and Crosshair. Correct.
Correct.
So in the first episode, Alfie, as you mentioned, they said she was enhanced, but later on they said she wasn't. She was just like Boba, so she was a pure genetic replication of Jango Fett. So what we're saying here is Brent thinks there's a 5th one out there that's not her. Alfie, you're still saying she is the 5th one.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Third argument, the 5th clone is Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool from X-Men Origins.
The one who becomes
What the hell just happened?
I'm just throwing out random stuff that nobody really.
The one that
Like the
one
Wolverine
that was like-
Origins movie?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
was like the
Wolverine.
horrible interpretation of what Deadpool was supposed to be.
no. My thinking is because they never said that it was Omega, right? And so they're trying to get her back because they need the DNA. That's why they're trying to get her back because she's an unaltered version that they need the DNA. I don't think that she's the fifth because they never said her by name. We just inferred that from the conversation that the Caminos were having with the Republic, or I think it was with Tarkin.
Okay.
I think it's just a bad little bit of dialogue. Personally.
Well, we're going to hit the Bad Batch pretty hard here in a few, but Nick has got to run and take care of something. And I'm also thinking that while we're doing this, our good friend T-Bob is in Central Time. And I'm thinking that even though I put 9 p.m. Eastern, my good pal is probably waiting on 9 p.m. Central, which is okay. We'll figure that out, but we'll see if that goes here in a little bit. So I'm just going to throw out some random stuff and some things that I saw this week that we can talk about, see what you guys think, get your thoughts. One, the Book of Boba Fett. As we know, it's wrapped up shooting, it's in production, all that kind of stuff, post-production. The articles I've read say it's going to be grittier, more killer, less filler. And it's going to be Robert Rodriguez, Favreau, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Filoni all directing different episodes. What are you guys' thoughts on more killer, less filler, grittier? Alfie put out earlier today more of an adult version, but not the porn adult version, but more of an R-rated version. I'll just go around. Whoever wants to start first, we'll go Book of Boba Fett. What are you guys' thoughts on what's been announced here recently? Brent.
So the badass Boba episode of The Mandalorian, where he came back and whooped people up with the gaffy stick, was Robert Rodriguez. So he was the one who directed that. So I feel like if it's going to follow that, then I feel like you're in for something that's going to be a treat to watch. Eye candy and what have you. I feel like with him. But so there was a part of me, like he's the showrunner. Like the original story was that I believe he was the showrunner. So I thought he was going to direct all of them. But now the story is that he's only directed a few of them. He may be the one that kind of holds everything together, kind of like Filoni. But if you're going to get something like you saw in that episode where he came back and beat the crap out of people, then I think we're going to be in for a visual treat.
I agree.
Yeah,
Nick.
I say 2 thumbs up on that. Even from the end credits of the last season of The Mandalorian, where Boba walks in and just offs Bib Fortuna, this character that like everybody kind of knows, and he's just like very calculated, cold, puts him down dead. If you get more of that, I thought that was really cool. So yes, I'm in.
I think we all know Alfie's 100% in on this.
Oh yeah, 100.
Yeah. Maz, Book of Boba Fett, you liking all the stuff that was announced and discussed?
I'm liking it, but I'm mixed with Robert Rodriguez. I either really like his stuff or I really don't. Like I don't know if any of you guys have seen From Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, where Tarantino directed half the movie and Robert Rodriguez directed the other half of the movie. And I absolutely loved half of it. And then it just turned into a shit show after that. I mean, once they turned into vampires, it was awful. I mean, I was sitting in the theater with somebody and then he looked at me and he goes, "Are we watching the same movie?" And I was like, "I'm not sure." I mean, but what I saw with the Boba Fett stuff that he did, I really liked. So I am looking forward to it.
Good. I am as well. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I think we're looking at Christmas time. Nick, go ahead.
I am hoping that in the same way we saw Bib Fortuna go out, that there's a Snoodles similar interaction for singing that stinking song on the remake, that they retcon something and they start singing that song, and it's almost like any other song but that. And then I would be okay with the Snoodles death. That would be
Okay.
That was the worst addition to the special editions. Oh
No, the Jabba in New Hope was worse.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on.
terrible.
Yeah.
I don't mind
it.
Han walking over him and Jabba's eye and
Wait.
Jabba's eyes bugging out of his head.
I
Okay.
have to ask, do you mean that the first
Yeah, because there were
special
two.
edition? Yeah, or like
Oh,
the 7th DVD release that where it had been remastered again?
Yeah, they've changed it several times. The first time he walked around and didn't go up and over. Then they switched it where he went up and over and his eyes got real big. Yeah.
And they switched it to a completely new Jabba.
Hey.
Is it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They've changed it a
Oh.
number of times.
He's much larger, darker, looks more like the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I didn't like the Jabba in Phantom Menace either, but that's another story for another time. So I did see someone wrote an article. Will Luke be in Mandalorian season 3? And with that being said, Mandalorian season 3, there's nothing going on with that right now. They're not filming. They're not doing anything. I'm guessing late 2022, if not beginning of 2023 on that. And I don't know if it has reworkings because of Cara Dune or anything else, but I don't know. Guys, will Luke be in that? And how long is it going to be before we see that? Nick's saying no. Nick's shaking his head.
yeah,
No, Luke.
I say no, only because if they do come back with the third season of The Mandalorian, which we've not been promised, right? Like when they did the announcement of the 10 shows, The Mandalorian was not in that, and Book of Boba wasn't in that either, but that was not in it. And if they did come back and they would do it, I think it would be similar to what we saw at the end of Mandalorian season 2, where it's like a cameo or, you know, like a nod from afar. He goes back to see Grogu and, you know, he's doing whatever Luke does. And
Okay.
it's very casual.
Gotcha. Nobody else. I don't think we're going to see him in there. Alfie, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see him until maybe much later in this series. I know it's dark, but it'll never happen, but I'd like to see the final showdown between Mando and Boba. Or I'm sorry, Mando and Luke.
Really?
That would
Yeah.
be cool.
He goes back, the temple's destroyed, Grogu's not there.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. So like a post Kylo Ren becoming Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And he's pissed that
Luke's kind of losing it. One more final jab into you failed.
wow. And Mando kills
That
Mara
way-
Jade.
It
Oh,
pisses
come on.
everybody off.
All right, we've got Mara Jade and Kylo Ren brought into Luke and Mando season 3 right there. That's pretty good connecting the dots. Go ahead, Brent.
I was just going to say, I thought that Kathleen Kennedy mentioned that there would be a season 3, and what's his name? Pablo Pascal was having an interview where he said, and it was like he was going to divulge something because he was talking to Ewan McGregor about it. They were talking about Star Wars, and it was like he was going to say something confidentially and say, well, it's been delayed because X, Y, and Z or something. But he did say we will have a third season. He didn't say when or how long it's going to take to develop it, but he said that there will be a third season. And I think she mentioned it wasn't the 10 new shows. She said along with the third season of The Mandalorian, there will be all of this other stuff.
I'd have to go back and look, but I believe you. Let's hop on to another Disney Plus discussion. How many of you guys are looking forward to the Acolyte? Because I good hands up there, Horseshack. Way to go. I am now, and I'm reading more of the articles where they're discussing it and talking about what's going to happen. Man, I'm really it happens after the High Republic and before the Phantom Menace. I think there's some really good things that can be put into that time frame right there. I'm seeing it's going to be a mystery thriller is what they're categorizing it as. Any thoughts, you guys, on what we could be looking at for that? Nick, since you had your hand up first, feel free to throw in some stuff to start the show on that.
I'm really excited about it only because I feel like, and this is a personal preference, I've had a hard time getting into some of the High Republic stuff only because I feel like every other branch of Star Wars, aside from like the EU stuff where we got into like the Yuzong Vong and like it wasn't Sith anymore. Everything is, kind of Jedi versus Sith, good versus evil. And you could argue that like the Nihil and the High Republic are evil, but it wasn't like a compelling enough bad guy necessarily for me. In Light of the Jedi, like I liked it, but or not Light of the Jedi. Yeah, that's the name of the first one.
Marchand Row. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good, but it didn't hook me quite like that. So if there's something coming down the, coming that's gonna put us back with some sort of Sith tie-in of what are the Sith doing during that time period or leading up to that time, I'm all about it because I do want to see, some sort of conflict there.
Okay, Alfie.
I think anything that delves into the actual lore of the Sith would be 100 times more interesting than another Jedi in their time of glory story. I want to learn more about, what goes into becoming a Sith, what they're doing in the background.
Brent, thoughts?
So one of the articles that I read, and I'm going to ask you guys, how do you feel about this is the headline that this is Leslie Headland, right? Lindsay Headland or Leslie Headland?
Leslie Headland, I believe. Yeah.
Leslie Headland. She is trying to hire writers that have not heard of Star Wars. How does that bother you?
Not really. I mean, yes and no. Like I feel like there's some beauty in not having some of the, not feeling like I'm tied to, hey, I've got to do everything by the book. Especially after the whole debacle with the sequels. Like I thought I had a debate with Gwen Kennedy, who listens to our show. She's one of our friends, former students here at the church, but had a debate this last week about how I think The Last Jedi is actually a really good movie because they departed from some of the things that made Star Wars and took some risks and kind of did that, and how Rise of Skywalker was not as good because they played it safe and went back to some of the things that they thought people were going to like, but it kind of felt cheap in some ways. And so there could be an upside to that. There also could be wait a minute, this doesn't feel like Star Wars component of it as well. I don't know.
I'm gonna hop in on this, and here's what I'll say. I think it can be beneficial if you have someone who's deep in Star Wars lore leading the way. It's great to have the outside ideas where they're coming in and saying, well, why don't we do this? And why don't we do that? That person can rein it in and go, oh, you know what? We haven't thought about this. Us Star Wars nerds haven't thought about that. Yeah. But you outside person, that's a good idea. How do we rope that in? That's how I think it can work best, is the ideas will be fresher, newer, outside the box ideas, instead of we're in this regimented Star Wars universe that we've lived with for 40 plus years. So that's my thought on it. So I don't have a problem with them doing that, as long as she's going to say, hey, love the idea, but it's still got to kind of fit in here somehow. Go ahead, Maz.
That's kind of like trying to find a jury that didn't know anything about O.J. Simpson. Bunch of guys that haven't seen Star Wars, but oh yeah, sure, okay.
We all know people who haven't, though. Come on, we have people who we know who'd be like, never seen it, not once.
Yeah, but are they writers? I mean, you're really narrowing that down to a specific group of people.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It could work. Make a good product. I don't care.
Agreed. Just make it good. That's all we got to do.
My feelings are the same thing as on you, Joe. And it sounds like everything else that I've read is that she comes across as a very, very strong Star Wars fan that is really vested in Star Wars itself, really vested in Filoni and what Filoni's done. So she comes across as somebody who would know that stuff. So I agree, the diversity of thought is there as long as it's put through the Star Wars lens. And how can we make this idea fit the Star Wars narrative or whatever? Or how do we make these ideas work? So I agree with you. I'm just curious how you're the other take on it. And I second what Alfie said, as long as they also make a good product as well.
Yep. Agreed. So I have a couple more topics, and they're kind of related to two that are related, one that's not. These are two of the things that George really had going right before he sold the company. One, Star Wars Detours. Seth Green did an interview recently, and he was very involved with Star Wars Detours. He worked hand in hand with George on it. He announced that they had 39 episodes already filmed, already put together, already produced, and they had 62 more scripts. And the 39 episodes were ready to go in 2012. And it was another one of those thinking outside the box. How do we make parody? How do we make fun in the Star Wars universe? Kind of that Family Guy, kind of that,
Robot
chicken kind of feel about it with Seth Green. So if Disney Plus threw those 39 episodes out there right now, would you guys be interested in that? Would you want to watch those and see those right now? Being that it's from 2010 or 11 when they were made? Maz, go ahead.
At least one of them. If that first episode stunk, I wouldn't want to watch any more of them. But I'll check out the first episode. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nick, Alfie, Brent. Go ahead, Alfie.
I'd probably watch it. Like Matt said, at least one, but I don't know. The Robot Chicken episodes worked because there was like one every once in a really great while. I can't imagine like 39 of them having as much appeal as, the first two of them did.
Okay.
I could see it getting old real fast, but I haven't seen it, so.
All right.
Maybe not though. I mean, like, if it has Star Wars on it, I'll watch it. And it is funny, like with the Family Guy Star Wars, like I find myself going back to that probably once every 6-7 months, just because it makes me laugh every single time. Like I know what's coming, and it makes oh really? Hey guys, Dax got this one. Like literally, I laugh every time that I watch it, and it so if you could invoke some more humor, and I think Seth Green is super funny, and so it's like the stupid humor that it's like, I don't know, I like it.
Yeah, I still watch the Palpatine skits all the time. I think those are hilarious.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brent.
Nick, did you watch Droids by any chance on Disney Plus?
No, I have not watched that yet.
I tried, Joe. I really tried.
I told you it's goofy, silly 1985 stuff. I mean, I said you should give it a try. That's all.
I tried, and then fell asleep after about 10 minutes. It was interesting. It was interesting, that's for sure. But so I would give it a try, but I tried.
Yeah, no. Star Wars Droids and Star Wars Ewoks are definitely not they're nostalgic. That's what they are. It's nostalgia. So, I watched them in the 80s, so I can go, oh, that's kind of cute. That was interesting, but it's not something where I'm like, gosh, I've got to put that on and watch it. I'd much rather watch one of the movies or one of the Disney Plus series or whatever, or go back and watch Clone Wars or Bad Batch or Rebels.
There wasn't anything else to watch back then.
There was not. No.
I mean, we couldn't even really watch the movies for quite a while.
Right.
Yeah.
VHS movies during that time were like $100. And
They
no one
were
had
gold.
a VCR anyway.
Right. One more thing that was kind of last thing that George was working on. Do you guys remember season 5 of the Clone Wars where Ahsoka took the younglings that were getting their lightsaber crystals and all that? The Wookiee and different ones.
I would watch that.
Very fun episodes, right? George actually, one of his last projects that he was working on was to make an offshoot series just about that group.
Wow.
And I didn't know that at all, but I was reading an article about it the other day saying that was one of the things where he thought this would be a great fun way to make it not so Clone War-ish, but make it more that era, but more fun, more kid style, right? I mean, let's face it, the Clone Wars kind of got deep and dark, This was a little bit more kid dark. But I think that would have been a great thing. I think kids would have really liked that. I think it was a good fit. I liked the characters. I thought it was fun. and I thought they set it up well. It's a shame it never went off the ground. Go ahead, Brent.
2 words: Wookiee Jedi.
Yep. So speaking,
I heard about that being a possibility of like a pilot, and it didn't take off a while ago. And I'm actually angry. I feel like that should have been made into a show. I really like those kids. I really like the arc. And again, I will go back to Wookiee Jedi.
So speaking of Wookiee Jedi, I went ahead and jumped in onto the most recent Kevin Scott novel, The Rising Storm. I'm about 23, 24 chapters in. Got a good mix of everything, but there is Buryaga, the Wookiee Jedi, good character in there. I've been listening to our good friend Mark Thompson doing the audiobook, and he brings out some voices, guys. One sounds like Dr. Evil from the Mike Myers movies. Like I'm listening, I'm like, this is Dr. Evil. I mean, no joke. It's not Gilbert Gottfried, Brent, but it's Dr. Evil. But if you get a chance to listen to this one, man, the amount of voices he's doing is crazy. The different dialects, the different sounds. So it has been good for that. And you know, I'll still go back to it. If I could have a guidebook sitting right next to me to where they mention a person's name and I can look down and go, okay, yeah, it's that Jedi or it's this character, it would help a lot because taking this all in, even if they had action figures, I'll even say that. If they had action figures to where I could have them up on a shelf and be listening to this book and go, oh, okay, I can envision this guy better or this person better. I need that. The world building of a huge new universe that's all new. I'm enjoying the book, but it is a lot. I mean, you really have to study and pay attention to know what's going on. Go ahead, Nick.
So spoiler free, but does this book pick up on the same? You mentioned the Wookiee Jedi. Is it the same characters from Light of the Jedi?
Mm-hmm. This is chronological order, my friend. So the 3 that we've already read. This is the next novel, and there's one coming out at the end of July, one coming out at the end of August. So there will be like 3 at a time. Boom, 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 boom. So this is after the what's the light thing? I'm forgetting the name.
Starlight Beacon.
Starlight Beacon. It's after that's open. Now they're doing a Republic fair, basically a Republic gathering of people. It's like the World's Fair, except it's a Galaxy's Fair. So it's going on right now. So, but there's some interesting twists and turns. But when I'm finished with it, you guys can borrow my iPad and listen to it. I got it on audio on there, so you can plug it in and take it where you want to go. So, but it's been fun. But Mark's doing an excellent job. The last thing that I wanted to hit before we do some what ifs and before we do Bad Batch was Star Wars Visions. Nick is pumped about it. Alfie's talked about it. I don't think that's part of their feud, but guys, do you all see the sizzle reel, the preview reel? Mm-hmm. What were your guys' thoughts on Star Wars Visions? It's not going to be canon. They've already said it's not canon. It's free stories that they're allowing these artists to create in the Star Wars universe, in the anime style. I thought the video was good. I thought it looked interesting, but I'll just go around the room. What were your guys' thoughts about it? And they're all coming out, by the way, September 22nd, which is a Wednesday, and they're going to release them all at once. They're all shorts. They're not full-length shows like Bad Batch. It's going to be shorts. I think they were talking like 7 to 10 minutes or something like that, anime style. I'll let you guys go. Round table, Star Wars Visions. Room is yours.
Yeah, well, I'm pumped about it. I think that sizzle reel was awesome. And more importantly, I think it's cool that they're giving some of these people that are already great, like well known within their fields. Like I thought it was really cool the amount of different studios that they're working with to pull this off. And looking at these, they're all great anime writers in their own respect that all just happen to be Star Wars fans that are saying, like the line that they said in there of like, we want, like, what are the stories that you want to tell? To me, I mean, like, it's so cool because it's almost like you're getting their fan fiction brought to life, in a very cool style. And there were some of them that, like, the one that they showed of like the Master and the Padawan going to find a threat, like an unknown threat looks so cool. And I think almost like when I was growing up, there was like those Star Wars Tales comics books, and it was like a ton of little tiny individual stories all throughout the Star Wars galaxy. And for some reason, I was trying to pinpoint why does Visions look cool. To me, it almost feels like a harkening back to some of that stuff of like, it's random stories. Some of them are really goofy. Some of them are, you know, dark and serious. And for me, it just looks really intriguing.
Good. Mass, Brent, Alfie. Go ahead, Brent.
So working with high school kids for a while, Naruto has been a big item in the area that I've been teaching. So they talk about Naruto all the time. I've seen snippets of it. The style of animation never really got into it, but some of these kids live and die by it. I mean, you have like, what is it? What Speed Racer from the 70s falls into that. You have Voltron, which I mean, I grew up with Voltron. I think that falls into that anime style. So some of those things, like, it was not something that was on my radar as something that I would like to watch. Then I watched that preview reel that they dropped, and it blew me away because it's exactly what I say all the time. Give me the new and give me a different way of seeing it, as long as I feel like I'm grounded in the Star Wars world. And so I am way more excited about it. I think I went from probably a 2 to about a 7, if you would put it onto a range, because of watching that. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to watch that more than I'm going to watch the Droids, or go back and watch that Droid cartoon, because I can't go back to that one. But yeah, no, it was really interesting to see the studios. It was really interesting to see what they had to say about Star Wars and their fandom. And I'm kind of interested to see what this style is going to look like, because yeah, they're all going to have a different style too, because they're all different studios, right? There was like 7 or 8 different studios that they worked with. So they're all going to have like a different style and feel to them too. So yeah, bring it on. Give me the new, and hopefully we get new stories. I don't care if they're canon or not. That's not part of what I care about. It's a Star Wars story.
Good. Mass, you have always been more you've always come across to me as having like Bruce Lee and martial arts and you know, samurai kind of stuff. I've always seen you as being into those kind of things. Does anime do anything for you in the Star Wars universe?
Well, I unfortunately have not seen that trailer, but
Okay.
it sounds
awesome.
really interesting to me, and I will check it out when we're done here, probably. But yeah, I would love to see something like a Jedi duel in anime. I'd like to see that. That'd be great.
Good. And before we hop on to our special guest here, Alfie, any thoughts from you on Star Wars Visions?
Yeah, I thought it looked good. And one thing that I'm really looking forward to, like I posted those pictures today, this is a chance to take some of those ridiculous, would never work in film kind of ideas, like fighting with the lightsaber on top of an X-Wing, and it'll work in anime, and it'll be awesome.
Good. I like Brent. I know Speed Racer and Voltron. I've not really gotten into anime, so this will be new to me. But T-Bob, is your technical difficulties fixed? Are you with us?
Yeah, dude. I feel horrible. I feel horrible because like I'm terrible at geography, and I always think of Indiana as being Central Time.
It should be
like Midwest Central Time. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You said 9. I was like, okay, hell yeah, that's fine. My bad, boys.
No worries.
Looking forward to this.
Come on, man.
We're glad you're here. We just talked about a few different bullet point topics. If you want, we can take a few minutes here, get you caught up, get some of your feedback. These guys have all gone around and answered questions on it and everything like that. But I'll just hit you real quick.
Yeah, give me the rundown. I won't expound too long.
Book of Boba Fett, Grittier, more killer, less filler. Robert Rodriguez running the show. Are you excited about the Book of Boba Fett? Are you liking where it's going with what they're discussing and how they're describing it?
So I actually haven't really stayed on top of what they're discussing, but I am. I mean, of course, I'm looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett more than really anything Star Wars related right now. I mean, even watching Bad Batch, I think Bad Batch is really good. Like I don't know if it's great. Well, but it's one thing. It's whatever. It's beautiful. The art in it is amazing. Like I want a Bad Batch concept art book, and it's just like the cityscapes and the planets and everything because they're just unbelievable. And you can tell the resources they put in the animation there. But what I am finding is that what I'm enjoying most about Bad Batch is how it affects the Mandalorian, and that's like storyline, and with Fennec Shand and everything, and then obviously. Alpha or Omega being introduced, like does she go into live action then? Is this just Filoni making another one of his characters come to life? And so like I just find everything tracing back to Boba Fett, and then the further we get from Mandalorian season 2, it's like one of the greatest experiences I've ever had.
Well, good. That is good to hear. We touched on one of the questions that I brought up was, will Luke be in Mando season 3? I'll ask you, do you think he'll be in Mando season 3?
When is Mando season 3? Is it next year?
No one knows. Yeah, I'm guessing we're at least a year and a half away from Mando season 3.
I think Luke, I think Disney knows that Mando is their huge IP, right? So Luke definitely feels like he has a home there. I would not be surprised to maybe see Luke pop up. I don't know, actually, now that I'm saying that out loud. Does he pop up in the other shows? I think you're going to feel him a lot in the background in certain areas, depending on when the times are set. But yeah, he'll definitely be in Mando season 3.
Okay. And I'm running down the stuff we briefly discussed. Star Wars Acolyte. Have you heard much or looked into that much? It's a show that's going to be coming out on Disney Plus. It's a mystery thriller after the High Republic books, but before the Phantom Menace. Any thoughts? Have you heard anything on it?
I have not read any of the new like High Republic novels, and so no, I don't know really anything about Acolyte.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I just want to make sure you were caught up, so when these guys start rambling, you'll know where we are. We talked about Seth Green and Star Wars Detours. Have you heard much about that? The show that he made? Okay, he made that with George Lucas before Lucas sold the company. But they have 39 episodes already produced, and we were discussing whether or not we thought that would be good to bring to Disney Plus or not. You know, little Star Wars humor.
I mean, the Robot Chicken Star Wars are incredible, so obviously I trust Seth Green as a steward of that property.
You got it. And let's see, last thing before we really hit on what we just hit on was Star Wars Visions, the anime. Did you see the video of that come out recently? Did you check that out any?
Yes, because I love anthology stuff.
Really?
I love animated anthology stuff. One of the best shows on Netflix is Love, Death, and Robots. Both seasons, very, very creative stuff. It's just an anthology anime, all different animation styles, different stories, some really mind-bending stuff. And like, this is just all of that taken to Star Wars. And I love anime to a certain extent. Like, I've hit a lot of the anime high points. Watching Demon Slayer right now, like everybody else, and that's awesome. But I mean, yes, I just it looks amazing.
You know what, T-Bob, you mentioned Demon Slayer. I'm gonna poll the room. Hands raised. Are any of you watching Demon Slayer? Do you know what Demon Slayer is?
I don't know what that is.
T-Bob, what is Demon Slayer?
It's an anime on Netflix that
okay.
It's gotten a lot of juice lately. Like when nobody was going to the movies. So they had one season, then they made a movie, and then the second season's coming out, I guess. But the movie was on top of the box office for like a month or something. And everybody's like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, what is it? So I just the other nerd friends kept telling me to watch it, and I finally did. And it's really good.
So you spoke of anthology kind of shows. I'll go off tangent real quick. My daughter got me watching the other day American Horror Stories.
Yeah.
Dude, that show freaked my mind out. One, but two, Billy Lord is in that show. And so we're watching. I'm like, hey, that's Billy Lord. She goes, how do you know who Billy Lord is? I was like, Billy Lord, that's Carrie Fisher's daughter. She was like, whoa, Princess Leia's daughter is Billy Lord? So I was telling these guys, I think I might talk her into watching the sequels now, because she's going to be like, I want to see Billy Lord in Star Wars. So,
like, dude, there's a ton of Billy Lord. Just wait. There's so much Billy Lord. You're going to be so happy.
There's some pretty scary stuff.
Scene. Yeah.
There's some pretty scary stuff in the sequel, so she'll love it.
Yeah, that show freaked me out. I'm like, she's 19 and she watches this anyway.
Yeah, season one is super intense, especially on
have you guys watched American Horror Stories?
Every season's slightly different too, and they set them in different settings. They had one in a creepy hotel. They had one in a circus that was like a creepy circus. They all, like, my wife watches me, and I don't want to watch them because I hate scary movies, but I feel like I've watched them because my wife tells me about all of them, and I hear her talking about them. They're strange, man.
Yeah.
I watched all but the circus season.
Is there a reason? Are you not a clown guy?
No, I'm not a clown guy.
He deleted his account 45 seconds after the circus came out.
Yeah, no. I'll read the synopsis of the circus season. That's fine for me.
So, hey, real quick, T-Bob, before we get into our Star Wars what ifs and before we get into Bad Batch, sorry guys, it's a little bit longer show. I apologize, but my son Joey, who you know, he's big time. He big times me, T-Bob. He big times me.
He's big time, dude.
He's a love of my, you know, he's my golden boy. He's my child, right? But he's like, Dad, I got T-Bob into buying 6-inch Black Series figures.
Yeah, he did.
I will tell you, Massengale here in our group was way against all that, and now he's a crack addict and has to have his Mount Rushmore of all his favorite Star Wars things. What brought you? Did you not really focus on 6-inch Black, and then what brought you into that?
It's just like, so sometimes it's kind of like me with some certain video games or MMOs a lot of times where it's like, I know if I open this door, or just like, it's a pit. It's a commitment. Like in this case, financially, in other case, time-wise. And so a lot of times I'll avoid that door for as long as I can. But then I was shopping with my daughters at Target, and I walked by a Queel and a Grief Karga, and I was like, damn, dude, these things look pretty good. And then like a couple Google searches later, I had a little Amazon gift card. And so, yeah, now I've got, and Joey, I texted Joey and he sent me a video of his collection, which is like, didn't realize just how large the selection is, which is entirely too large. And I feel very overwhelmed, but yeah. And then so I bought them, but I'm not even collecting. Like, well, I'm collecting them and I'm kind of putting away the little pieces, but me and my kids are absolutely playing with them. So we have Hoth Luke right now and New Hope Han. I got like Princess Leia reserved, I think, for the fall, and then I bought Mando. I think I'm gonna buy Rey next.
Well, it's
Really?
Definitely you mentioned you can go down a pit very fast.
Hey, well, this is real sweet though, Joe. This is real sweet. Joey told me that like one of his favorite things to do is when you and him go hunting in the shops for the figures.
That's awesome.
I mean, Brent and I did that this weekend, just scouring things. But Joey, he gets so into it, and you know, he's a crazy kid who just likes to throw his money around. So whatever he sees, like you said, you've seen his collection. You guys need to see it. His whole ceiling in his guy's room, he's got them all across the ceiling on a shelf, all his 6-inch Black. It's pretty scary. I mean, I've got a good setup, but Joey's got a really good one. So thanks for bringing that up, though. I'll let him know I'm still high on his list there. Shopping. Brent, go ahead.
There's something about going hunting for that stuff because I didn't expect to be overtaken with the joy and the excitement of finding a $15 Hot Wheels destroyed Escape from Jakku Star Destroyer that I can turn into terrain from my Legions game. Oh, and by the way, T-Bob, I have X-Wing and Armada now.
He's
Damn,
into
okay,
it.
yeah. In for a penny, in for a pound.
So when you said, as soon as you said, when you open that door, it's gonna take you down a rabbit hole.
Who's gonna play X-Wing with Brent though? Because X-Wing is one of the most fun games you've ever played in your entire life. You feel like you know what it's like to fly these ships. It's wild.
It's too bad you're not. Go ahead, Brent.
I just got done earlier today, flying a Star Destroyer and taking out and trying to attack Home 1 and the Corvette. I'm sorry, I'm playing them on Armada. Like okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. Well, I was gonna say
I could go for hours.
I went to a game day with Brent the other day just to check and see how it was going. We met some cool guys. They were there talking Brent up and having a good time. And he's actually teaching people the game now. It's crazy. He teaches them the game and then he takes them to the shop. He should get commission because the guy walks out with hundreds of dollars worth of material. But
Yeah,
we're
he's like
planning.
he's the old wizard. He's the lore master,
He-
just opening people's eyes, teaching them the ways.
We got to get. I know Joey and I are when he comes down for an LSU game this fall. Me and Lori are coming down with him, so we're going to meet up with you down there, obviously. But we need to figure out a way to get you in Indy because Brent, we're planning some Legions and X-wing nights and all that kind of
I
stuff.
really want to play some Legion, especially because of how good all y'all's figures look, all painted up, terrain and everything.
They're
That's what
pretty
I'm
cool.
saying. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing. I mean, look, miniature wargaming's fun, but when everybody paints their armies, it goes to another level. It's amazing.
Well, I won't keep you on that. I just thought it was fun because Joey sends me a text and he's just like, Dad, I think we got T-Bob hooked on 6-inch black.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
they're awesome.
what?
Dude, they're so posed. And then, like, I was amazed, like, Hoth Luke, you can put the lightsaber on his belt.
It's the little things.
It is.
Yeah.
And right now, T-Bob, I kind of run a little mini store. I order like 8 off Entertainment Earth, and then I come to these guys and go, okay, who wants 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And, I keep one for me. I make sure they're taken care of. Yeah, I'm
You're
a dealer.
literal drug dealer.
Hey, Mass is the same. Mass just found me a Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan Kenobi that I didn't have, and he's sending me texts. You guys need this? You want this? I'm like, yeah, set me up, man. Give me the hot stuff.
T-Bob, about a month ago, I flew down to Florida,
Oh.
and when I landed in the airport, I had to wait for my shuttle. So I was walking around the Disney store in the shuttle, and they had 6-inch Hunter Bad Batch. So they had Hunter and Crosshair, and they had a couple of the other ones. So I started taking pictures of these guys, of them, and it's like, who wants one? I'll buy it and bring them back. So I Sherpa'd them back. So I really was the drug dealer, bringing back 6-inch black Bad Batch to these guys.
Like,
Yeah,
sir, we're gonna have to look
FBI
at that
one.
box.
Yeah, right. Instead of arresting you, though, they would open up your bag and be like, "What are you doing with me?"
You cross state lines.
Yeah.
Okay. The funny thing is Brent's taking his bag and he's like, I'll put it away. It's got 6-inch blacks in it. Don't move the bag. Don't move the bag.
That's what they're calling them now. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we've gone down a rabbit hole there. So before we get into Bad Batch, I threw out some different ideas on text, and I told T-Bob we were going to talk about it, some things. But if there's a Star Wars what if scenario, a thing that happened or didn't happen, that you'd say across the movies or books, you'd say, what if this didn't happen, or what if that did happen? I don't want to mandate and say, hey, here's the list I wrote down. If there's something that each one of you wants to hit and talk about, we can each bounce it around. But I'm open for this fair game. Go ahead, Brent.
This one wasn't in our text string, but it just hit me. What if Obi-Wan didn't shut down the tractor beam?
Okay, we're gonna start right there. We'll just start right there. I don't care. We're just playing a silly game real quick and just talking about it. What if Obi-Wan didn't shut down the tractor beam? Anybody want to jump on that one? Or Brent, you brought it up. Do you have a thought on it?
Can I ask a caveat on it?
Yeah.
Is he just physically not able to do it, or did something happen to him and he couldn't turn it off?
It was jammed.
What?
Yeah. His old man hands couldn't get it.
Just what if it didn't happen, right? So what if?
I mean, I think they're captured, right? I mean, be tough to see them escaping the Death Star otherwise. I mean, who could come and rescue them potentially at that point?
Wedge. I mean,
Wedge is gonna get through the Death Star's turbo lasers.
That dude barely made
Edge
it
and
out
Big.
in the first one.
Big sneaks in and rescues Luke. His home.
Wormy. He's gonna go get Wormy.
Wormy.
Maybe we give Porkins some screen time as well. Dude.
There you go.
See, I like this. So now we've created a Bad Batch of rebels. Right here is what we're doing. We're putting an assassin group together. Hobby, Wedge, Biggs,
Porkins.
and Porkins, and they're gonna sneak in.
I like it.
I don't know if Porkins can do any sneaking.
He was eating a hoagie.
God.
There was no way he was getting in to save anybody.
See, I am right there.
Keep the ship running, bro. You just
The rebels didn't know any of them at that time, though. So why would they have tried to
crap.
save
right.
them?
You're right.
Well, Leia, they knew Leia. Didn't they know Leia was there?
They would know Leia was there. They wouldn't know Luke and company. But then, and then Biggs would be like, Luke, whoa.
I don't think anyone
Knew?
knew Leia was there.
Man, Alfie, you got to throw a wet blanket off a good freaking idea. That was so fun.
Vader's said to put out the call that everyone on board was killed.
Killed.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Okay, but that's a simple fix. Though. That's a simple fix. We're already going down the fan fiction wormhole. Not able to shut down the tractor beam. They send out some sort of missive. Obi-Wan does. General Kenobi or Leia does. Like somebody sends out a message to the rebellion.
I like it. How about this? We already know that Obi-Wan's got to distract Vader for them to try to escape, right? So he's going to sacrifice himself. Does it take another sacrifice to pull off another thing that gets him out of there? Do we lose maybe another one of the core cast members?
Wouldn't they just get sucked in by the tractor beam again, though?
Well, I'm saying, what if it took another one of them to go do it? What if Obi-Wan has to sacrifice himself with Vader still? What if another one has to go on their own and sacrifice themselves? Who would it be? Would it be Chewie? Would it be Han, Leia, Luke? Go ahead, Maz.
What if Han had died originally, like Harrison Ford wanted?
There we go.
So there you go.
So
Then
I
what
mean,
happens the rest of the story?
personally, I like the Bad Batch of the Rebels group first. I like that the best. Go ahead, T-Bob. Were you saying something? I cut in there.
No, nothing. No, it was just about Han. If we are talking about potential Han deaths, Return of the Jedi could have been I actually end up how it worked in Force Awakens, but it could have been very impactful in Return of the Jedi.
Agreed. That's another good what if. What if he'd have died either in the carbon freezing chamber or at Jabba's palace or what have you? Obviously, Leia and him don't get together. Does she find another love interest? Do her and her brother get really messed up, crazy relationship there? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but
full Lannister. That's how dark it gets if Han dies. Never mind.
What's that?
I said they go full Lannister. Like it's just
God, full
banging.
Lannister.
I'm like, I don't know. Never mind. We should keep Han alive.
Yeah, we should keep Han alive. I like that. I'll throw one out here. It was a simple one. What if Anakin doesn't win the Boonta Eve race?
They lose their ship.
They lose their ship.
Old boy's
stuck.
What's his name?
Nope. Qui-Gon on the edge of being a gray Jedi does what needs to be done and gets him out of slavery.
You already cheated, so
Yeah. Yep. Sorry about you, Watto. Done.
Or he's like, this kid's not that powerful, and he just leaves.
Yeah. Turns out I was wrong. Not the chosen one. Midichlorian count my butt. There's no
Or would the fight with Maul be more intense, right? Because if they lost the fight, then if Maul was still there, now they have to kill Maul to try to get Maul's ship.
Yes. See, that was one of my other ones. Is what if either A, Maul does not get killed, or B, what if Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan together defeat Maul? So either A, Maul's
can I give a C?
Or go give a C.
What if the Jedi Council showed the smallest bit of interest in trying to figure out who he was and actually went with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon?
This is true. Yeah,
When-
they didn't really care, did they?
Were you
No.
trying to figure out who Anakin was, or figure out who
who Maul was.
who Maul was? Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
Qui-Gon says he was a Sith, and they all say, no, that can't be.
Well, dude, if
We're
there's-
Jedi. That there's no way they returned without us knowing. You go figure it out.
Right. If there's one thing that we know about the Jedi, they are hubristic, right? I mean, they are the
Oh my
ultimate
God, yes.
blinded by pride crew.
But just imagine those doors opening, and Maul lights his lightsaber, and the whole council's, standing on the other side.
I like it. I
would
kind
be
of like
cool.
that.
I'd still put my money on Maul. I'm sorry. I'm still going to put my money on Maul.
Yeah. Most of those guys got killed by battle droids. So
Right.
My big what if that I live with all the time is still just like, what if going into Rise of Skywalker, Rey had become like the leader of this giant resistance that had kind of been built on the story of Luke's sacrifice, and then Kylo had also built up his forces, and they just had this like massive all-out war for everything.
Instead of it being 10 people against the First Order.
Yes, and instead of it being Palpatine again, for sure. I think that would have been an interesting finish.
I like it better already. I can tell you that. I'm good with that storyline. Go ahead, Nick.
I might have missed the text message thread where we went back and forth and discussed the what ifs. Could be. I'm curious, and it might have been in there. Has anybody read the I think it was Dark Horse that did it, the omnibus Star Wars, and it's literally this, exactly what we're talking about, what ifs, and the what ifs that they pose, and then they like actually flush the story out of like
In a comic?
oh my gosh, it is so
You've never
good.
read that?
No.
There's 3 of them.
Literally
The New
like
Hope, Empire, and Jedi.
yeah. So like what if Luke missed his shot on the Death Star? And then they had to figure out, and like the story gets nuts. What if Luke died on Hoth and didn't end up coming in? I can't remember, Alfie, what the Return of the Jedi one was.
I think you threw those into the text message. Alfie,
Yeah, I
didn't
think you
you?
did.
Yeah, I did.
Alfie did.
What was the third one for Return of the Jedi?
I can't remember what exactly
Dang.
the Return of the Jedi, but that was ended with the white Darth Vader, right?
Yes, and he's like redeemed.
Yeah.
Whoa.
White
First,
Darth
He like
Hold
doesn't
on.
actually die.
Hold on. You got to
That's-
kind
My mind's blown.
You got to
on that.
start at the beginning
Yeah.
because each story Vader is redeemed a different way.
It's almost worth a whole show just on
Yeah.
those
All
3
right, well,
comics.
Because the
getting
first one
those.
alone, Luke misses, so he escapes with Han and Chewie, and they go to Dagobah
And the Death
and
Star
hide out
shoot-
there.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
sorry, Alfie. I cut you off. Sorry.
And they hide out there for a while till Yoda says, "Hey, it's time to go," and they confront. Leia becomes Vader's apprentice, I think.
Yes. And
How'd I miss
Yoda literally hijacks the Death Star and crashes it into Coruscant.
Because it's a comic.
You're
It
right.
was really
Brent.
good though.
It's awesome.
No, no.
I mean, like it's
No.
a very interesting
Wait, he
read.
crashes it into Coruscant?
Yes. It like does the sacrifice play
Okay.
Tony Stark style, kills himself, but
Yeah.
crashes the Death Star into Coruscant.
And each one of them ends with Vader finding out who the children are and redeeming himself in a different
Yeah.
way.
That's the whole point.
I'm really pissed at myself now that I asked for a what if show and there's a whole freaking line of comics about it that I never read.
Yeah. And Han Solo in Empire is the one who hears Obi-Wan's message
Yeah.
because Luke dies.
Oh my.
He freezes to death.
What?
Have
Yeah.
you see, Bob? I'm guessing you haven't seen these either.
No, I'm Googling them right now, but there's a ton of Star
What's it
Wars
called?
comics. I don't know.
Star Wars like omnibus or something.
No,
There's a
I
bunch-
mean,
I Googled that. There's a bunch of those. It looks
I'll
like.
find them. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I would
I,
love that.
I think you guys are correct. That needs to be a show now. I thought we were having some fun here with some silly stories, and then I just got my butt kicked by Dark Horse.
Infinities.
Infinity.
Star Wars
Yeah,
Infinity.
yeah. Excuse me.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Well,
Brent.
let's go back. Let's go back to the fun. Let's take it out of the fact
Yes,
that they've
yes.
already done this. And I'm gonna make Ryan Massengill's night
Oh, here we go.
because what if Obi or Qui-Gon didn't save Jar Jar Binks from the AAT?
Mm.
And
Okay.
if you think about it, that whole movie is predicated on him saving Jar Jar, because a lot of the plot flows through Jar Jar and Jar Jar taking him to the Gungan city, them getting through there. A lot of that early plot and getting to Naboo was because of Jar Jar and saving Jar Jar.
And then coming back with them fighting as a war was because Jar Jar was a Gungan and he brought him back.
Hold on though. Does it change that much if Palpatine always needed Naboo to win anyway? Like, does Palpatine just find a different way, or does he need Naboo to win? Like, was that
The original plan was to not have Naboo win,
okay?
but he was such a master at manipulating things that
Yeah.
he worked it out. Essentially, was like, well, that was inconvenient, but I'm also Palpatine, so it was convenient to me.
Yeah. It did make him very central figure in the Congress for sure.
Yeah.
Mass, any thoughts on Jar Jar not really being a player in Phantom Menace? Do you see any potential storyline that happens without him being saved?
Nothing's really coming to the top of it. The only thing that's coming to my head is, man, I would have enjoyed that movie much more. But
Okay. So does the Chancellor get emergency powers if Jar Jar's dead?
Oh gosh, see,
God.
Yes.
I mean,
he
I think
figures out another way.
that's the problem. Is that, yeah, I agree with Nick. Like he
Yeah.
definitely still does.
I mean, it comes back. Palp is Palp. He's gonna find his way.
Yeah.
We joke about Palpatine on this show a lot, but besides the Rise of Skywalker,
He's
the
incredible.
dude from Plagueis on through everything we see, him playing both sides, the Clone Wars, the prequels, the dude's got and the original trilogy. I mean,
He's
he's
the
got it
most
all put together.
successful on-screen villain I think that we've ever seen in terms of just completely orchestrating his plan to a T. And maybe that's just because like the whole original trilogy, the bad guys sort of have to win to kind of fulfill the setting of the original trilogy. So maybe it's unique in that way, but like he is playing everybody. Like for how vaunted Yoda is, he plays Yoda like a fiddle throughout.
Agreed.
Well, I have another one for you that got thrown into the list. What if a different Jedi came to rescue Grogu? One, would it change the story, and who would it be? Go around the table. Anybody throw up a hand? Alfie.
Well, it would probably lead into another live action series, so that would be awesome. Because you have to explain, one, how they survived Order 66, and two, where they've been this whole time, and three, why they never joined up with Luke Skywalker in the rebellion.
Dude, I'm digging it. Mass.
Cal Kestis comes to my mind because that's who I thought it was going to be. That came and got him in the first place because the Jedi Fallen Order set that up perfectly. So I was excited when Luke came there, but I was also a little disappointed that it wasn't Cal Kestis.
Does that automatically make a second Jedi Fallen Order video game with little Grogu with him?
That would be cool.
They are making a sequel.
Game is
There's a sequel to my knowledge being made.
There we go.
Sick, dude.
T-Bob.
Well, okay. How about I mean, the only other person I thought it could potentially be, I thought it'd be too much of a leap, would be Ezra Bridger, because he is out there in the ether doing God knows what for how long. You already had Ahsoka in there. I thought maybe Ahsoka was calling him. What's up, Alfie?
Go
The
ahead.
problem with Cal, Ezra, and Ahsoka is that you're going to touch on further stories that they're going to tell. And the Jedi that needed to get Grogu didn't need to have any need for a story whatsoever, or else it would tarnish their future live action series.
And this goes to the discussion we had earlier, was will Luke show up in Mandalorian season 3? And everybody here had different thoughts on it. But I think, Alfie, you might have just hit this, that Luke doing it means we don't have to worry about Luke besides maybe a quick cameo in any other series, while you have these other series where maybe some of those people are the series.
Right.
That makes sense?
Luke doing it accomplishes two things. One, no need for a backstory. And two, you move Grogu to a safe place for an infinite amount of time, which is what Dave Filoni likes to do with his Jedi characters. And you don't need to know what's going on. I mean, if you think about it, he took every one of them and moved them out of the story till he needed to bring them back. So at some point, Mando can go pick up Grogu, give him the little ball. They can leave. Story keeps going.
I think, though, if we were playing like the alternate reality game and kind of removing it from trying to create other shows and everything, Ezra picking him up, some sort of reunification with Ahsoka, and like you could do a way further build up to Luke, and then Luke is like even more God mode when he shows up and like descends from the heavens.
We don't talk about that on this show only because Brent doesn't know that Luke is actually almost a godlike figure. Brent thinks that Luke is a broken figure, that's all he's seen.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't mean godlike in the divine. I don't mean godlike in the divine like
no
goodwill way, because I mean all he's known is like hardship and stuff. I mean like he's just God power levels.
Right.
I mean in that final Mando season 2 scene, I feel like he's like subtly using the Force to predict, like like when this is like an anime trope, like the martial artist who sees things kind of before they happen because his combat prowess is so large. And I'm sure he's like using the Force to like subtly adjust shots, hold back trigger fingers, just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow.
I like it. Does anybody, before we talk Bad Batch, because I want to hit Bad Batch. We haven't talked about it this week. Any other what ifs that stand out to you guys, or you really want to hit on to say this one sticks with me? I want to know, what if this happened? Any thoughts? I had one, but go ahead, Nick.
The only one I have is, what if Lando hadn't pieced it together that the shields were still up against the second Death Star?
They all run into the shields.
Yeah, I'm saying,
It's
like,
over.
what if, man? And that's how the rebellion gets snuffed out. We flew into the shields.
Hey, by the way, T-Bob,
Yeah.
my 50th birthday was just a short time ago. And these crazy knuckleheads, as well as some of my family members, he brought up Lando. They went in for a cameo with Billy D. Williams for my birthday. I've got a minute-long video of Billy D. Williams wishing me happy birthday, and it is about as cool as hell. I mean,
that's Billy D. Williams. Right?
Yeah.
That's
And-
he is cool as hell.
Yeah.
I think he worked in every one of his catchphrases
It was
into
so
that
good.
a minute and a half.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I like
mean-
seeing somebody put the effort into that.
Yeah, it was. They were all at my house, and they're like, "Hey, Joe, go check us out on the TV." And I'm like, "Why is everybody in my living room?" And they put it on the TV. I was like, "Dude, that is just." I mean, like, tears were getting ready to just come down the side of my face. It was really cool. So,
Dude, that's really
what
if Chewbacca had sex with Maz Kanata? In the place.
Yes!
Wow.
Place is getting
Yes!
coming in hard, coming in hot.
Yes!
They're in bed when it starts getting bombed out.
Oh
Nobody
dear Lord.
anything.
Mass is just gone. He's had
Okay,
enough.
I have a serious one, and this is my big what if.
Man,
What if
T-Bob brought it
Instead
heavy.
of orbiting the Death Star around Yavin, they just blew it up. And then blew up the rebel base behind it. I mean, it's a super weapon designed to destroy planets. So why didn't they just blow it up?
Did it have? Well, I guess because they were too close.
Oh,
It
whatever.
flies. Back up a little bit.
Beep, beep.
Yeah.
You came in too hot.
Back it up. Back it up.
Oh gosh.
Wow, that's good, Alfie. That
We-
was
like
nice.
it.
break
Just
for
never
no one.
understood that. Why they had to orbit around the thing. Just blow it up.
To give the rebels time. They had to
Okay.
give the rebels time.
Plot armor.
He's in shambles. I mean, fuel being what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever
Oh.
crystal fusion they use.
It would have taken too long for it to recharge.
That's a thing.
Mhm.
All
That's a thing.
right.
So in that, no, we'll save it for later.
But wouldn't have Yavin 4 been collateral damage? I mean, wouldn't it have been taken out by the planet Yavin being destroyed? I don't know. But
That could have been a cool story
They
too.
when they blew up Alderaan, they didn't see the bolt going through Alderaan. It stopped on Alderaan and it blew Alderaan up.
Its
Okay.
gravity would have picked
What-
it up.
When they shot into Jeddah, it just shot into Jeddah. It didn't go through
right.
Jeddah.
That was a single reactor ignition.
You beat me to it, Nick.
I would like to just point that out for clarity. We want a demonstration.
oh gosh. Okay. I was gonna go to another what if, but these right here between the Maz Kanata and Chewbacca having sex and Yavin, I'm flushed.
that's
My
good,
face is
man.
red. That was really good. Before we start into episode 10 of Bad Batch, Common Ground, T-Bob, we've all talked about it. So, like you said, Bad Batch has been really good. The
Yes.
artwork of it is gorgeous.
Yes.
There's been some really great episodes. There's been some pretty okay episodes. You're feeling the love for Bad Batch, though? You feel like it's adding
Yeah.
to the story?
No, I absolutely think it is, and that's what I'm enjoying the most about it. It's like I said, it's very good. It's just it's obviously
Yeah.
it's not like hitting me in the same way like Mando season 1 or 2 did, or even like the last 4 episodes of the new Clone Wars season, which was basically just like an awesome like mini Star Wars movie. At times it hits that feeling. It just maybe doesn't carry it throughout the entire time. But again, I love the investment financially because you can see it in the animation. Cad Bane looks
Yes.
so good in this new show. I mean, everybody does, but there's certain guys. And then again, like I said, I do want a concept art book of just those cityscapes. I constantly find myself just pausing the television on the cityscapes and just looking at them. So my kids are gone for the week, so I actually chained. I knocked out all of Bad Batch like last night and today, so it is very fresh on the mind.
Good. Well, I'll just start in Common Ground. As Brent always says, if it doesn't have a cameo, maybe some people consider it filler. Like if it doesn't have Rex, or if it doesn't have, this character pop in or whatever. I think when it comes to Filoni stuff, a lot of people will say these things can be considered that way, but I'm a big believer that if Filoni's group puts it together, something meaningful is going on in there, and it's going to come back and rear its head at a different time. But I will say this: looking at Raxus, the artwork, like you said, was absolutely gorgeous. And to be at the seat of the separatists, and seeing those propaganda speeches, and people wanting loyalty and curfews and things like that, they're really setting the ground of what the Empire is going to be. And I think they're doing a really good job of doing that, to where we're not just taking that leap of, Order 66, and here's Rogue One's Empire. It's showing you those steps in the process they're going through. But I really liked the character Avi Singh, the senator. I thought GS8, the droid, it reminded me a lot of L3, had a little pizzazz to the character, a little personality. So I'll let you guys get going with things you liked and didn't like on it, but I enjoyed the episode. It wasn't mind blowing, but I thought it laid a lot of good groundwork for things. So Common Ground, any thoughts on this episode right here to start? Anybody? Brent.
So
go ahead.
So one of the things that I saw in the forums, or some forums that I was on, was the use of the stun gun. And so in 43 years, you see the stun gun used once, right? And it was on Leia to stun Leia. Every other time it was shoot with blasters. But the Bad Batch was running around Raxus, and every single one of the clone troopers they zapped with the stun gun. And I think when I'm thinking about it, it almost is, in my mind, in my head canon, it's a way to illustrate how the Bad Batch is different than the Empire, because they didn't want to kill. They didn't go for the kill shot. They went for the stun instead, and because it was going to accomplish them. All their mission was to retrieve and get out. And all they needed to do was stun to give them a little bit of time to get the escape. So I think that stunning of it, while they stunned everyone, it would have been nice maybe to kill one or two, I guess. I mean, it might help you out a little bit more in the long run, but they stunned all of them. And it was just an illustration in my mind watching it of how they were different than the Empire and all the Empire people and everything that we've seen in the Star Wars universe up until this point.
And it is post chip discovery too, right? Now they have killed people after discovering the role that Chip's played as well, but I feel like ideally they don't want to have to kill their fellow clones if they no longer believe them to really be guilty in what they're like, and they're having control of their actions. To me, the big takeaway in this episode too was just and they this was very subtle. But they needed to, or they are showing that we are challenging the clones' entire worldview, right? Like all they've ever known is separatists and republic and whatnot. And they very much are showing them struggling with that. And they're really getting into some of the things that Last Jedi tried to get into, that Mandalorian's got into, which is that gray area. Where a lot of these things are kind of immutable. It just depends on what side of the equation you are. And so they had to free a separatist leader.
Yeah, I thought it was great to see them go in and talking about that. Like, these are separatists. We shouldn't be going here to help. We should be going here to take it over, right? So good point. I do like that. Nick, I think you raised your hand.
You said the thing earlier, if there's not a cameo, it might be a filler. For me, the cameo was Raxus. I mean, just absolutely so cool, that Clone War tie-in where you get all the episodes of Padme and Ahsoka going to Raxus to go have this debate, and, the hologram of Count Dooku showing up on there. So super, super cool to see that. And I thought even outside of that too, I love that you started, at least it felt this way. I don't know if I, upon a second viewing, if I would feel the same, but, we had talked on here at one point about, okay, like what's Omega's strength like what's the thing that we're trying to find, and this bent towards strategy that we're starting to see. Very, very cool for me. And it actually, I feel like it helped move the story along a ton, back to kind of what I was hoping we would see. Okay, what is it about Omega other than being maybe a direct clone of Jango now that makes her so special?
Does this make her Thrawn's counterpart?
Oh, wow.
I mean, in the future, right? Because I mean, that's like Thrawn's hold bag, right? Is being a master strategist. Does she become like somebody that could potentially deal with him? I don't know. That's crazy.
She seems to have everybody's characteristics, though. I mean, she picked up hunting like Hunter. She's a perfect shot like Crosshair. She's a strategist. I mean, seems to be part of everyone.
The only thing she has then is the superpowers, right? Super strength, like Wrecker, right? But I mean,
we got more episodes.
She's little.
I'm sure y'all have talked about this. Does she show up in Book of Boba Fett?
Yes.
We have talked about it. We've had different thoughts and ideas on it. I think was one of you guys saying she'd be a bounty hunter, Alfie?
That was me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. My thought, and I threw this out, was she wasn't going to make it to there. That she, Star Wars would do something they haven't done before, and they take out a character like her before it ever got to that. Like she'd sacrifice or something like that. But Alfie said bounty hunter. Was it Brent or Maz who had another thought of who she might be? But I think the overall theme from everybody, for the most part, was she'd make it to the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah.
Boys, I hate to do this because I know I came late, but I got to roll. I got a buddy in town. He just brought dinner back, but I really, sincerely, genuinely love talking Star Wars with y'all. I'll get the times lined up straight next time. This was a lot of fun.
Of course, man.
No worries, man. Go take care of it. Thanks for hopping in. We'll have you back soon.
Yeah,
You too, Bob.
See ya. Yeah, he was texting me, and I didn't want to cut him. He was like, "Come on, let me hop in. I'm sorry," and we said, "Yeah, let's go." So he's a great guy. We need to have him back more often, and we need to meet up with him. We need to make a road trip to Louisiana. I think that would be fun. So
I've been, man. It was rough.
I've been. It was a fun 2 weeks. Both times I went there.
Those
Awesome.
damn hurricanes. They're a hot mess, man.
What did you guys think? I mean, we talked about it before, but definitely the Hammerhead and the Weequay are now becoming Cliff and Norm of Cheers on this, aren't they? I mean,
Yes.
Rhea Perlman is Sid, is Carla, and they're Cliff and Norm. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to. Bad Batch Cheers.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that the clone troopers that were going for the Empire right now, none of them had colors or insignias or logos on them.
Interesting. I missed that.
All the clones
That's
were
cool.
straight up white, no extras on them at all. So for all the things we said about the clones, where they were the same and they were this and they were, I mean, they all had different haircuts, they all had different tattoos, they all had different coloring on their clone trooper stuff. From whatever group they were with, they put different logos on their helmets.
Even their gunships.
Yep. So, but this group right here, as we're seeing the clone troopers become stormtroopers, they're still in the clone trooper gear, but they're all clean, all uniform. Boom. Brent.
So this is just a question, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard somewhere that the Phase 1 clone helmet, the fin on the top of the helmet was a nod to the fin on the top of the Kaminoans' heads.
Really? I could see that. I did not know
Does
that.
anybody know if that was true or not? I mean, I heard that somewhere. I only know the painting them right, but I know that there's the fin on the Phase 1 helmets, the first generation helmets, and somebody said that was there because of the Kaminoans, their look and having the fin on the head. I didn't know if it was true or not, but hey, I just wanted to throw it out there.
I like it. I'll run with it. Come on. I mean, little attachments like that are cool.
So another question for you is, do you think that, and I had a conversation with the guy that I was playing Armada with today. He said that he feels that they're holding the Bad Batch down from being awesome to allow Omega to save them. Do you feel that is a possible? Can you read it that way? I haven't been reading it that way, but he feels like the Bad Batch are being dumbed down and not to what he felt like the Bad Batch should be, as a way to try to see that Omega was helping and helping them overcome obstacles. It was a way to try to elevate Omega. So they were lowering what the Bad Batch and the elite in that level of Bad Batch to allow Omega to be somebody to shine.
Well, here's my
Go ahead.
thought on it. When we see them in season 7 of the Clone Wars, they are BA. When we see them at the beginning of the first episode of this, they're off the charts crazy. But they were bred and put together as that 4 or 5, adding Echo onto it, to work together as a team, and everything clicked just perfect to where it was like all their superpowers came together to make this team react that way. With Crosshair being taken out of that mix, does it change it to where they're less at that level and they just haven't found their rhythm yet? Because they were talking about Omega, and Hunter turned once. He goes, "Okay, you and Omega go this way." See, he's like, "Omega's not with us," and he's like, "Ah." So was she starting to fill that role to make the team gel into that again? I that's just my initial thought on it. I don't know.
Wow.
I agree. It's like, losing your starting point guard. You got to adjust. Things aren't the same. It takes a few weeks for a team to get their rhythm back. I think that's exactly what's happening.
They could always be so reckless because they had Crosshairs,
Right.
watching their 6.
He
So
never
they could
misses.
take those risks.
Mm-hmm.
On the side note, and I like what you're saying, the world around them has changed as well. They were reckless. They were BA in an environment where they needed to be because there was always war going on. War at this moment has slowly dwindled down because it's starting to go down because the Empire is causing that. So the environment is not as doesn't call for them to be as BA right now.
Right.
Possibly.
You're right. They're more hop in, hop out, do a quick mission, and get out of there. Make as little noise as possible, kill as few people as possible. Before it was just destroy whatever, and worry about it later. So
well, and you were
I
taking
like
out
that.
droids, right? Like it's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's some really good things. I mean, here we are saying that this episode might not have been as important, but you're seeing the things we've already mentioned, a number of things that do lay the groundwork for future things and are big portions of the story right here that are just little bits weaved in and out. Brent, go first, and Alfie.
No, Alfie, go ahead.
I liked this episode, even if there wasn't, a whole lot going on for the story overall, but it seems like we're really not getting much Bad Batch in this series. And I know they can't be the Bad Batch in every episode. This isn't the A Team where, every week they're going to be in a scenario where we have to showcase each one of their skills. But at some point you kind of want that a little bit, working out of the bar is getting a little repetitive.
I think it's going to change because she paid off her debt. Their debt.
And I was going to finish with, there's still another half to the series. So maybe it will change. There could be another season, I don't know. For me, when this series was announced, I was thinking Republic Commando video game. I know that's a video game, not a show, but there's still that part of me that kind of wants to see that.
Go ahead, Brent.
I was just going to say, how did anybody feel when they left Omega behind? Like,
I was nervous.
I
was nervous that she was going to get snatched or that something was going to happen. Like, again,
Sid would double cross him.
Yeah. What was it? Like an episode ago, she got grabbed by Cad Bane, and like now we're just going to leave her with Sid, who we don't totally trust, but it's somehow safer than taking her to Raxus with, what I'm saying? Like, I was just like,
yeah, good call.
I was a little nervous she was going to get grabbed, and it was going to be like the same cycle of what we had seen.
Yeah. That's interesting. I thought it was a growth thing because it was that she wants to be there, and they've got to get over the fear of not taking her with them. And I think this is a way where she's like, well, if you're going to leave me here, I'm going to do something. So you might as well just take me. So
That's another change, though, because they're actually worried about her. They never had to worry when Crosshair was there.
True.
So things are different.
Agreed. Alfie, did you have something?
Yeah, one thing I thought of in watching the Bad Batch, and it's kind of odd being that Filoni is so involved with all these series, but bringing in Cad Bane and the Bounty Hunters, are we to assume that the tracking fobs haven't been invented yet?
Interesting.
Well, yeah, I feel like they haven't been invented because, and we don't know time, right? But they had just started doing the chain codes and started
Yeah.
imprinting. They had just started imprinting chain codes on people, which is why Cut LaQuaine had to skip out of town, was because of the chain codes, right? So they, if not everybody in the universe or the galaxy has chain codes, then how are we going to be able to track them?
True.
That was my question.
I don't think they
Just
have. I think
seems
that,
odd that, this guy first made a bounty hunter show where you get tracked with this little beepy thing, and then
come
now
on,
we have bounty
that-
hunters. And
that's 25 years later, though. Come on.
true.
It's not like it's the most advanced technology, though. Like, we're flying ships in and out of atmospheres of planets. and
You're
you've
also
gotta-
tracking a clone from
Yeah,
a
I mean,
cloning
like-
facility.
yeah.
Okay, all right. I wanted to go around, finish up because I've kept you guys extra late because I knew I wanted to get T-Bob on here. Anything interesting you want to hit on before we go? Alfie, you sent me something I think you should hit on. You guys think about it while Alfie hits this, and I think if he's going to say what he's been texting me, I think it'd be really cool and blow your mind. But you guys think about anything you want to hit on before we close up shop. Go ahead, Alfie.
Okay. I know we do this all the time, but that's what we do. We speculate, we put pieces together. The senator, he leaves, he's reluctant to leave, but then, the droid convinces him he can do more if he leaves. And I only noticed this because we watched the medal ceremony on episode 4, like 5 times a day. Right behind 3PO and R2D2 is someone with the exact same beard.
Shut up.
Exact same beard. He's right behind C-3PO and R2D2.
Let's see.
Go to the awards ceremony.
It makes sense though, like, because he wasn't going to follow what the Empire said. It makes sense that he joins the rebellion because he's still the senator, right? Essentially, he's still a senator.
Mm-hmm. Alfie sent that to me, and I was like, "Damn it, man! You got to talk about this." It was too cool.
The beard is just too much. I mean, could it just be like a little tongue in cheek from Filoni? Like, hey, I always liked this guy when I was a kid. Like, who are these guys standing behind the heroes? Well, here's one of them.
Does he have?
That's-
Does he have a monocle? Does he have a monocle?
No, he's not the
Can't-
Monopoly guy.
He probably had LASIK though.
Okay, so he could have had LASIK. He had a monocle in the episode. So if he doesn't have a monocle in the medal ceremony, that's crazy. I wouldn't put it past Filoni to throw somebody like that in there and make him.
Wow.
Good call, Alfie. I like that one. Yeah.
How the hell did you even notice that?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
He said he would.
we watch this like 5 times a day, man. It's my daughter's favorite scene. We
All
watch
of a
it
sudden,
over and over.
Alfie busts out. He's got the same beard. Look it up. Look it up.
Brett, do you have anything to close up stuff tonight?
I'm always a fan of watching my favorite game in the Star Wars universe and watching monsters club on each other. That is the Dejeric is phenomenal. I've always liked it. I will always let the Wookiee win,
Mm-hmm.
but it is one of my favorite things to watch. And I love the fact that they worked it into 1, gambling, and 2, the kid was better than everybody else. And they're going to, hopefully it leads into where do they go from here kind of questioning. So no, I like that about the episode. I liked, I brought up the whole tasing of people because I think it does set up how they're different. But yeah, other than that, trying to get I got another Saturday. So if you guys are available, come down to the Greenwood area. July 10, we got another Star Wars Day going on. Hopefully we'll have about 10 to 15 guys playing Legion or Armada or X-Wing. T-Bob would be in heaven.
Hey, just to let you know, I have been hearing rumors, Brent, that with the Dejeric and Omega, they're thinking about doing a Queen's Gambit show based in the Star Wars universe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
How awesome would that be?
He's playing 10 or 11 guys at the same time. Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be so cool. She would take pills and see it up in the sky.
Hey, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Maz, how about you? Any closing thoughts?
No, I really enjoyed the show. I like where it's going. I think it is. There was a couple of, not so great episodes. They weren't bad, but they weren't great, and it seems to be ever escalating to going someplace really good.
Gotcha. I agree. I'm looking forward to it and seeing how it's going to finish up. Nick, closing thoughts.
Nope. Same as before. The only closing thought I have is I do have to give a shout out to Drew Kennedy, one of the newest listeners of Rule of the Galaxy, works at my barber shop. And when I went in there the other day, we sat around and talked Star Wars for a good little while. So Drew, thanks for listening, man.
You got it. Drew, thank you. Alfie or Maz, go ahead.
Who was the listener that started watching? Oh, he bought Disney Plus.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. So that was going to be my closing thought.
Okay.
I'd mentioned a shout out a month or two ago. One of the dads on the softball team that I coach, he's a big Star Wars fan. So we started talking about it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to start listening." So the other night at the awards ceremony at the end of the season, he comes up to me and he goes, "Joe, man, you guys have got me so hooked now." And he goes, "I listen." He goes, I'm trying to talk my wife and let me get Disney Plus. So here's what I'll say. Gerald, thank you for being a listener. That's one. Two, you need to have Disney Plus if you're going to listen to this show. And three, Susan, come on, Susan. He's a good guy. It's Star Wars.
Come on, Susan.
You can watch the other Disney stuff while he's watching Star Wars stuff. So
Do it.
Are we actually taunting Susan now? Is that what we're doing?
Susan's
We
a
need
sweet
Disney
lady.
Plus to understand that reference, Brent.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
All right. So
I was
guys,
gonna say don't do it because it becomes an addiction and you can't stop watching the Star Wars and Marvel.
hopefully I won't have Susan listening at this time when she hears that. Gerald, though, keep listening. So guys, thank you. Show number 89. You guys start thinking about what we're going to do for number 100 because we're going to do something big. We got to figure that out. Show number 89 of Rule of the Galaxy. So happy that everybody's listened and given us a shot. Thank you for T-Bob for hopping in. Even if it was a short time, it was fun. And now I've got the picture of Chewbacca and Maz Kanata having sex during The Force Awakens in my head. So that's going to be with me forever. You guys, as always, thank you so very much. To my wife, Lori, who's probably on the other side of this wall, thanks for putting up with our loudness and our silliness. And I appreciate you letting me do this. But to the listeners, again, thank you. Follow us at Rule the Galaxy SW on Twitter. Email us rulethegalaxysw@gmail.com. YouTube or Facebook, Rule the Galaxy. These guys are the best. I'm just here to mediate. I love hearing what they have to say. They make me laugh. You know what? I think this was a lit banger show. So we are good to go.
It definitely hit different.
This show slap. That's all I got to tell you right there. You guys, peace out. Love you. Talk to you later. May the Force
I
be
need
with
a
you.
medic. I need a medic.